In this video, I'm going to recommend some apps that just make macOS a much nicer experience for Windows 10 users who've maybe moved over to macOS like me and find certain things a struggle, or just find it bizarre that certain functionality is missing from the operating system. So the first app is called AppCleaner, which is a basic uninstaller for apps that for some reason doesn't exist in macOS. So in macOS, you can sort of go into your applications folder and drag that application to the trash can, and I guess technically that's it, uninstalled. But in reality, particularly if those apps load at startup, they still have pop-ups and things that appear. They'll still tell you that if an update's available or something, even though you've technically uninstalled it. So AppCleaner, basically you click on the app and it tells you all the dependent files and it allows you to remove them all. So it's a much cleaner method of uninstalling things. Though I have found that certain apps are quite badly behaved, and even if you use something like this, it won't uninstall everything, and you have to go to the app developer's website to get like a specific uninstaller to really cleanly uninstall it from the system. But yeah, little free app, basic utility. Bizarre that it's not included in macOS, but at least it's free. Another free one, and another one that's bizarrely missing in terms of functionality. It really should be built into the operating system. But EasyRes allows you to select the resolution of your display. So if, like me, you're using either a Mac Mini or a Hackintosh and it's connected up to like a 4K TV, at 4K my TV only runs at 30 Hertz, but it runs at 60 Hertz at 1080p, and I want it to run at 1080p. But macOS won't allow me to select 1080p as a resolution for some reason. So EasyRes was a lifesaver because it just allowed me to go in and select 60 Hertz 1080p. Whereas before it was 30 Hertz times 2 1080p. It was like a scaled version of 1080p. Really, it was 4K. So yeah, it will give you every resolution that your display is capable of, but you can hide the ones that you don't want and only leave the ones that you actually will use. So it's another free app, super handy, especially if you've got a Mac Mini and a 4K display like mine that's only capable of 30 Hertz and you want to run it at a lower resolution. So yeah, that's super handy. Next one is a paid app, and it's called Smooze, and it allows you to change the feel of your mouse scroll wheel and edit how your mouse feels. And again, this is kind of all functionality that exists and it's built into Windows, but it doesn't exist in macOS. So it's kind of frustrating that you have to pay, what is it, $6 to be able to change how your mouse feels and make the scroll wheel feel natural. What I found was that it was pretty much unusable in Cubase. So this has an app-specific sort of setting where you can set the sensitivity of the scroll wheel. Before I got this, when I was scrolling in Cubase, say you were on a fader and you went to scroll up and down on a fader, the tiniest little movement of the mouse would make the fader go from like 0 to 100 or 100 to 0. Or if you were like trying to do any fine tuning or editing while you were zoomed in, you would you would scroll from one end of a project to the other end of a project. And I found that unless you're using like an Apple Magic Mouse or a Magic Trackpad, if you're using any kind of third-party mouse, it's like borderline not supported by the operating system. But yeah, Smooze, I guess it's a small cost to pay to actually get the basic functionality to support third-party mice. So I have a Microsoft IntelliMouse, and I just happen to like the feel of it and the resolution of it. I have a Magic Mouse too, but it feels like you have to like pick it up and scroll and pick it up and scroll to get from one edge of the screen to the other. It's not the most sort of highest DPI mouse in the world. So yeah, Smooze is another handy utility for that kind of thing. It's just a shame that you have to pay for it. Next one that I bought was NTFS for Mac, which allows me, I have a dual booting system that boots into Windows and macOS. And I started off, the macOS install was just kind of something that I did to see if it would work, and it did work. And then I realized that macOS couldn't access NTFS drives. We can read them, but it can't write to them. So bought this software, it was like $20, which allows you to get full read-write access to NTFS drives, which allowed me to link the macOS install of Contact to the SSDs that contain the samples for Contact. But what I started to find was that it wasn't particularly stable, and it caused a couple of kernel panics, and it would cause quite a bit of slowdown in folders. So if I opened up a folder, even if it wasn't an NTFS folder, I would get the beach ball, and the folder would sort of freeze until NTFS for Mac updated it or scanned it, and then it would sort of work normally. But it was a little bit sketchy. So after the freezes, I uninstalled it, and the freezes have stopped, which then led me to Mounty For NTFS, which basically enables NTFS read-write support that's built into the OS but not enabled by default. So this little app allows you to set your different drives that you want that are NTFS to mount automatically whenever you load macOS. So say my sample drives here, if I go into like one of these, and you can see it's all good, no lagging. Everything is as it should be and responsive. The other thing that I found with the NTFS for Mac was that when I was loading a Contact instrument, it would load probably about 5 times slower than it would in Windows, which isn't happening now with Mounty because it seems to be a really lightweight alternative. So it's another free one. NTFS for Mac was like $20, which I bought, and then it worked for a while, but not perfect. If I'd known about NTFS or Mounty, I would have used it. And the last app that I'm going to recommend is one called Magnet. It's another paid app, $2.99 though. It's not, won't break the bank. And it adds in the functionality that's been in Windows 7 onwards in Windows, which is the snap in Windows. So if you grab a window and you pull it to the side, it automatically snaps and like takes up half a window. Do it the other side, same thing. Or if you drag it into the top corner, it go into the top corner, or drag it to the top, it'll go full screen. Just a little time saver so that you're not sort of, resizing windows. You can just snap it to one side, and if you've got another window, you can just snap it to the other side, and you've got them both equal. And if you're drag and dropping files in between, just as a time saver, it's a workflow thing. So yeah, for me, that is just a few apps that I find make macOS more bearable as someone that's coming from Windows. So hopefully other people find these as useful as I have. Yeah, cheers.